Good morning. My name is Amanda DeHaven. I am the Marketing and Public Relations Administrator for the Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport here in Roanoke, Virginia. I have worked at the airport for nearly 22 years as the Marketing and Public Relations Administrator, and I work on a team that handles marketing, air service, public relations for the airport. You may have seen me on television around the holidays talking about travel tips, and today I also have a travel expert with me. Craig, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Craig. I have worked in the airline industry for the past 12 years. I have been a flight attendant, ticket agent, gate agent, and a customer service supervisor.
So, Craig, I know you love to travel. So, can you tell us a little bit about how much you have traveled?
Yes, I love to travel. I have visited 39 countries, 44 states, and have walked almost 5 million miles in the air.
5 million miles is a lot
Yes,
of
it
miles.
is a lot of miles.
So you are what I consider a travel expert.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I picked you to come today. So what I want you to get today out of this is some helpful travel tips, maybe some things you don't know, some current information about rules and regulations, where you can find some information, and some tips from our seasoned traveler and airline employee. So let's talk about the airport. The Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport has been in this particular building since 1989, but it had a renovation about 3 years ago. So here you can see some of the ticket counters: Allegiant, Delta, United, and then American down at the end. And those are where you check in. We do have the kiosks where you can check in at most of the airlines, not Allegiant Air though. Then you go up the escalator or the stairs. There's also an elevator over to the left of the stairs if you want to go up that way. McAllister's Deli, yes, they have the same food, most of the same foods that the Towers Mall location has. And then on the right, we have Hudson News, and they've got lots of souvenirs and gifts and books, magazines. And just make sure that you don't buy a drink right before you go through the screening checkpoint, because you're not going to be able to take that with you. So talking about screening, here's the TSA screening checkpoint. Most of the time, it's not going to take you any longer than 20 minutes to get through this line. However, when Allegiant is flying on an Allegiant day, I've seen the lines get backed up all the way to the escalator. So make sure you get to the airport early enough to make sure you get through the screening checkpoint and get to your gate before it boards. So here's gate 2. This is where United is. And then we have gates 3. Gate 3 is empty right now. Gate 4 is Delta. Gate 5 here is American Airlines. And then on the other side is going to be Allegiant Air. But they share that same area. Hudson News is on the right as you come down the hallway. And then McAllister's Deli again. And that has a full bar as well. So you don't have to worry about getting your drinks before screening. You can do it after you get through screening. So when you're booking a trip, a great place to go is flyourway.com, and you can book your flight there. And you can see on the bottom here on the right hand side, you can put in where you want to go, the departure date, return date, how many travelers, and this will pull data from the airline prices. It will pull prices from Orbitz, Expedia, all of those places on the internet. And instead of having to go to 6 different places and compare prices, you can just go here to flyourway.com and you can book your ticket there. So I think that's a great time saver today, especially when you don't have a lot of time to be sitting around trying to figure out which site you're going to go to buy your ticket. Okay, so baggage, packing your bag. So Craig, let's talk about a little bit about that. Packing your baggage.
The biggest tip that I have: know where you're going and what you're going to be doing. You do not need to take a lot of extra things with you. Chances are your hotel is going to have a washer and dryer in it if you need to stay more than a week. Know how much the limits are for your particular ticket that you've purchased. Most times, most fares on almost every airline does not come with a checked bag for free. You do have to pay for it. Most airlines will check however many bags you want to check. It is up to you how much you're willing to pay. 50 pounds is generally the max for the first price, then 50 to 70 for the next price, and 70 to 100 for the price after that.
And there's no leeway on that. So if it's 51 pounds, you're going to pay an overage fee.
Yeah.
So make sure that you stay within those limits.
And generally speaking, a second bag is cheaper than checking an overweight bag.
That's a good idea.
So always have maybe a small backpack in there. If you think that you're over, come the day before. Come and use our scales. We will be more than happy to let you use them, change the weight, know what you're doing. We'll even probably be able to tell you how much that overweight fee is going to be if you have to check an overweight bag.
That's awesome. That's great that you guys will do that. All right. So a lot of stuff has been happening about the iPads. And whether or not we can carry them with us when we're traveling. So, Craig, can you talk a little bit about that? I know you're asked about stuff like that all the time.
Yes, you can still travel with it. In the United States, in most European countries, you can take your iPad, your laptop, your Nooks, your Kindles, you can take all those things with you into the aircraft, into the cabin. That's the preferred spot for them. The restrictions currently are from 7 Middle Eastern countries bound for the United States or the United Kingdom. Those restrictions are not on U.S. carriers because U.S. carriers do not fly those routes. So there is a big caveat to that. You may be required to check it into the cargo bin, but currently no U.S. carrier will ask you to do that.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. And your liquids. You can carry on one Ziploc bag, one quart Ziploc bag full of as many liquids as you can fit in that bag. Your shampoo, your toothpaste, your lotion, a mouthwash, some deodorants, hair products. All those things are considered liquids. Anything that can't hold its form when you pour it onto a plate. Okay? So that's one good way of thinking of, is this a liquid or is this not a liquid? So keep that in that 1 quart bag. It's one quart bag per person. So if you have all of your liquids like these in one quart bag and you have somebody else who doesn't have one, then they can have a 1 quart bag if they're flying with you. And if you want to put, yes, they'll let you take the little small liquor bottles and you can put those in there as well.
But you cannot consume those on board an aircraft.
Also good to know. Anything you wanted to add to this?
As long as each item is under 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. There is
That's
a little leeway with that on the 3.4 or 100 milliliters because of the conversion.
Okay. And let's talk about medications, because a lot of people will ask about medications and they'll say, do I have to take my entire pill bottle with me, or can I put that in one of the pill dispensers? What is your advice on that?
The suggestion is always the original packaging with the prescription. Some countries do not allow you to bring unprescribed medication into that country or out of that country. It depends on the rules, the regulations, customs, border patrol will explain those particular rules to you. However, don't even have that conversation. Bring the original packaging. Also, if you have liquid prescriptions, such as insulin, those are exempt from the liquids restrictions. Anything with a prescription is exempt from liquids restrictions. So you can take the full bottle with you if you need to.
Right. And breast milk is also exempt as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Always a good idea to have a backup for that, just in case something triggers on a test, because they will test breast milk and formula. Always have a backup, such as some sort of formula that's in powdered form that you can mix up after security, just in case it doesn't pass.
Okay. Great. So one of the biggest things that we have that happens here is people don't get to the airport on time. I've seen Allegiant travelers come in at the exact moment the plane is taking off and they miss their flight. The airlines aren't going to hold your flight for you. So best advice is at least get here an hour and a half ahead of time, even in Roanoke. A lot of people say, even in Roanoke? Yes, even in Roanoke. Because on, like I said, those Allegiant days, it's going to be very hectic. On the Friday before Thanksgiving is the busiest day for us. And then the Sunday after Thanksgiving is a very busy day. Why? Because all the college students in the area are all flying out the Friday before Thanksgiving to go home. And then we're a big college area. We've got VMI, we've got WNL, we've got Roanoke College, Tech, Radford, all these area colleges, Ferrum. So think about that before when you're planning. You also can't plan for a wreck on 581. And you may call and say, but I left on time, but there's an accident. And so make sure you put in enough time for an hour and a half to get here, and you have to be at the gate 30 minutes before your flight time.
Yes. We cut off the counter at 30 minutes prior. There is a no questions asked. It is not something we can override. You have to be at the airport before that to check in. Sometimes we can hold for just a couple of minutes for closing the gate, which is generally 15 minutes prior to the flight's departure, if the TSA lines are long. However, 99% of the time, we don't have a hold order and we have to go.
Right. Good to know. So parking. Always park in the long-term lot if you're going to be out. Don't park in the short-term lot. Short-term lot's going to be more expensive for you when you travel. Park in the long-term lot. That's $9 a day. And then during the holidays, sometimes we'll have to open up the overflow lot, which is right across the street. When you pull into the overflow lot across the street, don't park right there where you come into the lot. Go all the way to the left. That's closer to the terminal building, unless you want to get some steps in. But if you want to get closer to the terminal, and then think about it, you're going to be coming home late. It might be nighttime, and you want to be as close as you can to your car. So park close to the terminal building, all the way to the left on that parking lot, and then use the crosswalk to come across. Now, something that we're going to be going through in the coming year is we're going to start working on a canopy that will allow passengers to walk to the terminal from long term all the way up to the loop road in front of the terminal building in a covered walkway. So during this time of construction, once the construction starts, we will have a free shuttle bus that will take you to the terminal building. But this gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. And so that's something pretty exciting coming up over the coming year. So I wanted to show you guys some blogs, travel tips that I thought were pretty interesting. Ordinarytraveler.com. This offers resources, tips, travel tips, photography. So you've seen may have seen some articles from them in Forbes, Yahoo, MSN, Business Insider, National Geographic Traveler. The expertvagabond.com, and they do articles in Lonely Planet, National Geographic. This is an adventure traveler, and he takes photographs and blogs about his travels. Flora the Explorer, another one that is interesting. She's a freelance writer, traveler, and volunteer, so this would be pretty interesting. She has learned, she's fluent in Spanish, and she's traveled in South America extensively. And Breathe, Dream, Go is another one with some yoga, spirituality travel, responsible travel. So that was pretty interesting. But this one is pretty cool too, flyertalk.com. Craig, you told me about this one.
This is a website that is mostly elite travelers. And I say mostly as in these people fly 125,000 miles a year. They're on our planes the most. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going. This is a way for them to discuss new issues. As you can see on the screen, they're talking about Air Berlin right now that's in bankruptcy. They're talking about what should they do with their rewards points. Can we book on another airline? Can we do anything before they actually go into bankruptcy? It offers tips on baggage, where to sit on an airplane, what meals are even being offered on a particular route at that time. It's a wealth of information that you can search and look through. You can ask questions of the elites, and 99% of the time they will answer with expert advice.
That's great. And, Craig isn't always going to be available for you to ask questions. So this would be a great place to go to find out some information about, what your travel questions are, even hotel reviews. Mm-hmm. So that's great information. Okay, so I like Craig. I also receive questions all the time from friends and family. What time should I get to the airport?
Yes.
All kinds of stuff. So tell me about some of the questions you've received in your answer.
Most of the questions I get are related to when should I get to the airport. I always say 90 minutes prior or more. If it is important to you to be where you need to be, then you need to invest the time beforehand and get to the airport early. Chances are, if something's going to happen to the flight being delayed, to it being canceled, in that 90-minute window, the agents can help you more than if you showed up at 30 minutes prior and then realize it's delayed or it's canceled, etc. Yeah. Get to the airport early if it's important to you.
Yes.
That is my biggest piece of advice to the most asked question that I always get.
Yeah. And, one of the things is people don't think about Thanksgiving travel. And, mm-hmm. you are going to miss your flight if you don't get here in time.
Yep.
So make sure you're here so you can get to grandma's house mm-hmm. for the holidays. Now, let's talk about your favorite place to go,
yes.
Paris. So tell us how you can do Paris on the cheap. How much are tickets, by the way, just from Roanoke to Paris in general?
In general, $800-900 for off-season, so not during our busy travel time, which generally starts in May to September. Mm-hmm. Anything outside of that, you can pick up a decent $800-900 fare. During the summer travel season, when everybody wants to be on vacation, France is the #1 destination for American travelers. So $1,200-1,600 is not unheard of, specifically if you're booking last minute over a preferred weekend. Hotels, you don't have to stay at the Ritz. It's nice to stay in a $1,000 a night room, but you don't have to. It is a huge city that is catering to tourism. $75 to $150 a night. Very appropriate rooms, very safe. You should not have very many issues. Not going to say that they have 1,000 thread count sheets and designer amenities, but the thing that you're looking for is a safe room that's clean.
Right, and it's really, you're not going to spend that much time in the room. No. If you're going to Paris. You want the experience of Paris.
Exactly. Biggest advice that I can give to save money, do not eat out all the time. Mm-hmm. Grocery stores are plentiful. Local markets, plentiful. Buy a baguette and some grapes and a bottle of wine
Cheese.
And go and sit, overlooking over the city. And that experience is a part of visiting Paris. It's a part of visiting any major city. Go to some local shops and buy from the people that are there. Most restaurants are there because it's a tourist trap. You pay for the service, you pay for tap water.
What?
Yes. You pay for all of these things that we're not accustomed to, and then we get the bill, and it's outrageous.
Right. And didn't you say a baguette is just €1?
Generally speaking, a baguette should be €1. From most places, it is a subsidized industry in France. You will always be able to buy a baguette in France.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing better. Okay, so what mistakes do you see travelers make? I see them not getting here on time, getting caught in traffic on 581, things like that. So what do you see?
A lot of people feel that they should still travel with cash. Cash is one of the worst things to travel with. You cannot replace it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Most places would prefer not to take it. Most airlines would prefer not to take it. And if anything happened, again, you can't replace cash.
Mm-hmm.
Use your credit cards. Use your debit cards. Those provide some sort of assurance or insurance, depending on the card you use while you're traveling. Look at the terms and conditions. Most of them provide some sort of baggage insurance, travel insurance if you get sick. If you've even used it once, most of the time, if you have to be airlifted out because you crashed your bike at the bottom of the Alps, they will pay for that. You look at what your credit cards offer, and then you pick accordingly to which one is going to offer you the best deal. Yes, when you're traveling outside of the country, you're going to get hit with some sort of exchange rate fee, but that's still better than using cash, which can be lifted out of your pocket and used, and you can't recover that.
Right.
Where your credit card, you can go to them and say, I didn't authorize this. Chances are they can get you a new card wherever you are, or some sort of partner bank that can get you some sort of credit while you're there.
Good advice. Good advice. So, in conclusion, let's hit some of the highlights. You plan for your trip. You go to flyroa.com and you can book your travel there. Packing, check with the TSA website, tsa.gov, before you fly to see if there have been any changes to the rules. Pay attention to the news because usually that's going to hit the news right off. And you can always reach me by emailing me at amandad@flyroa.com. I'd like to thank Craig Eisenbrown for helping me out today. I appreciate your time, and until next time, fly from home, fly ROA.